Hello and welcome to UGC EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Masood Hassan Siddiqui from Department of Geography, Jamia Millia Islamia. Today's discussion is related to some important movements for the protection and conservation of natural resources. In this chapter, we trace the journey of some of the popular environmental movements that developed after the 1970s in order to understand what are popular environmental movements, which section of the Indian society have they mobilized, what is the main agenda of these movements, what role do they play in a democratic setup like ours. The environment comprises of all the natural resources such as air, water, land, forest and minerals. It is our duty to protect the natural resources. Nonetheless, due to the technical advancements and other reasons, there is rampant misuse of these natural resources leading to land degradation, water pollution, air pollution and deforestation. All these factors lead to worsening of environment. Efforts are being made by the government through legislations, NGOs through awareness and mass mobilizations, and individuals in order to regain the environment. There are cases where people have revoked and adopted non-violent movements to protect their environment. An environmental movement can be defined as a social or political movement for the conservation of environment or for the improvement of the state of environment. The term green movement or conservation movement is alternatively used to denote the same. The environmental movements favor the sustainable management of natural resources. The movements often stress the protection of the environment through changes in public policies. Many movements are centered on ecology, health and human rights. Environmental movements range from highly organized and formally institutionalized ones to the radically informal activities. The spatial scope of various environmental movements ranges from being local to the global. Guha and Gadgil defined the environmental movements as an organized social activity consciously directed towards promoting sustainable use of natural resources, halting environmental degradation, or bringing about environmental restorations. Yankee Tong defined environmental movements as a type of social movement that involves an array of individuals, groups, and collections that perceive a common interest in environmental protection and act to bring about changes in environmental policies and practices. The environmental movements are conceived as broad network of people and organizations engaged in collective action in the pursuit of environmental benefits. Environmental movements are understood to be very diverse and complex in their organizational forms, ranging from highly organized and formally institutionalized to the radically informal, the spatial scope of their activities, ranging from the local to the almost global, the nature of their concerns ranging from single issues to the full panoply of the global environmental concerns. Such an exclusive conception is consistent with the usage of the term amongst environmental activists themselves and enable us to consider the linkages between the several levels and forms of what activists call the environmental movement. The environmental movement is a global movement signified by a range of organizations from the large to grassroots and differs from country to country. Due to its large membership, varying and strong policies, politics, and occasionally theoretical nature, the environmental movement is not always amalgamated in its goal. The movement also includes some other movements with a more specific focus, such as the climate movements. Broadly speaking, the movement includes private citizens, professionals, religious devotees, politicians, scientists, non-profit organizations, and individual advocates. Let us talk about the environmental movements in India. The concern for the environmental protection in India can be traced back to the beginning of the 20th century, when people demonstrated against the commercialization of forest resources during the colonial period. In Indian context, large number of environmental movements have emerged, especially after 1970s and 80s. In this framework, Sahu stated that in India, the environmental movement has grown rapidly over the last 3 to 4 decades. It has played a key role in 3 areas, that is, creating public awareness about the importance of bringing about a balance between environment and development. Number 2, opposing development projects that are inimical to social and environmental concerns. And number 3, organizing models projects that show the way forward towards non-bureaucratic and participatory community-based natural resource management system. As per Sharma and Aviram, major reasons for the emergence of environmental movements in India are: number 1, control over natural resources; number 2, false developmental policies of the government; number 3, socio-economic reasons; number 4, environmental degradation, destruction; and lastly, spread of environmental awareness and media. The important environmental movements in India are as under: Chipko Andolan, Narmada Dam Andolan, what we call it Narmada Bachao Andolan, Silent Valley movements. Let us discuss about the Chipko movement. The Chipko movement was initiated in 1973 in Chamoli districts and later at Tehri Garhwal districts of Uttarakhand, in the leadership of Sundarlal Bahuguna and his team members Gauri Devi, Sudesha Devi, Bachni Devi, Chandni Prasad Bhatt, Govind Singh Rawat, Dhoom Singh Negi, Shamsher Singh Bist, and Ghanshyam Ratauri. The objectives of these movements was to protect the trees in the Himalayan slopes from the access of the contractors of the forest. The most effectual and popular environmental movement in India was the Chipko, which became known for the environmental movements in the world. The name of the movement, that is Chipko, comes from the word embrace in Hindi. It is locally known as Angwal. It is believed that the villagers hugged or embraced or stuck to the trees in the forest to avoid them from being felled by the contractors. The strategy of the embracing the trees to resist the felling of the trees was thought of by Chandni Prasad Bhatt in a meeting in the Mandal on April 1st, 1973. The Chipko movement drawn world attention on the environmental problems of the Alaknanda catchment area in the mid-western Himalayas. It was started by the noted environmentalist Sundarlal Bahuguna to safeguard the rich forest of the western Himalayan range. This movement was basically people movement to resist the cutting of the trees. There were frequent floods in the Alaknanda river catchment area due to cutting trees for developmental work like the construction of the roads, river dams, projects, etc. However, the original Chipko movement was started around 260 years back in the early part of the 18th century in Rajasthan by Bishnoi community. A large group of them from 84 villages led by a lady called Amrita Devi laid down their lives in an effort to protect the trees from being felled on the orders of the Maharaja of Jodhpur. After this incident, the Maharaja gave a strong royal decree preventing the cutting of trees in all Bishnoi villages. The Chipko protesters in Uttar Pradesh achieved a major victory in 1980 with a 15-year ban on green felling in the Himalayan forest of that state by the order of Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister of India. Since then, the movement has spread to many states in the country. In addition to the 15-year ban in Uttar Pradesh, the movement has stopped felling in the Western Ghats and the Vindhyas and has generated pressure for a natural resource policy that is more sensitive to the people's need and ecological requirements. Some other persons have also been involved in this movement and have given it a direction. Mr. Bahuguna, a Gandhian activist and philosopher whose appeal to Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister of India, resulted in the green felling ban. Mr. Bahuguna coined the Chipko slogan, "Ecology is permanent economy." Mr. Chandni Prasad Bhatt is another leader of the Chipko movement. He encouraged the development of local industries based on the conservation and sustainable use of forest wealth for local benefit. Mr. Ghanshyam Ratauri, the Chipko poet, whose songs echo throughout the Himalayas of Uttar Pradesh. The main demand of the people in these protests was that the benefits of the forest, especially the right to fodder, should go to the local people. In this context, Santara recorded that in 1960, to maintain border security, a vast network of road was constructed in this area, besides talking of projects of various other types. All this was catastrophic for the forest and also total environment of the area, chopping of the trees and rolling them down hills, loosened the upper soil, which eroded further during rain. This had disastrous impact and resulting the devastating flood in the Alaknanda in July 1970, which caused destruction in the upper catchment area. Reddy further stated that in early 1973, the forest department allotted ash trees to private company. This incident provoked the Dashauli Gram Swarajya Sangha, a local cooperative organization, to fight against this injustice through lying down in front of the timber trucks and burning resin and timber depots, as was done in Quit India movements. When these methods were found unsatisfactory, Chandi Prasad Bhatt, one of the leaders, suggested embracing the trees to prevent them from being cut. With this success, the movement has spread to other neighboring areas, and then onwards, the movement is popularly known as, internationally known as Chipko movement. Ratna indicated that by the late 1980s, the movement has broken into two groups that have broad grassroots supports and advocate participatory methods which respond to local issues in the context of local social and cultural traditions. One group followed a strategy that emphasizes ecologically sound developments of forest by local people to meet local needs. The second group followed the deep ecology paradigm of the environmental management. Reddy, Ratna and others indicated that Chipko movement has had 6 demands, one of which is complete stoppage of commercial cutting of trees. The other demands include, on the basis of the minimum needs of the people, a reorganization of traditional rights should take place. Arid forest should be made green with people's participation and increased tree cultivation. Village committees should be formed to manage forest. Forest-related home-based and industries should be developed, and the raw materials, money and techniques for it should be made available. Based on the local conditions and requirements, local varieties should be given priority in afforestation. The second important movement for the protection of environment is known as the Narmada Bachao Andolan. This Andolan was initiated in the year 1985 along the Narmada River, which flows through the states of Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, in the leadership of Medha Patekar, Baba Amte, Adivasis, farmers, environmentalists and human activists. The objectives of this Andolan was a social movement against a number of large dams built across the Narmada River. The most widespread movement in the environmental crusades of India is the movement against the Narmada River Valley project. Narmada Bachao Andolan is the most powerful mass movement started in 1985 against the construction of huge dams on the Narmada River. Narmada is India's largest west-flowing river, which supports a large variety of people with distinguished culture and traditions ranging from the indigenous people inhabited in the jungles here to large number of the rural population. The Narmada Valley is the location of one of the world's largest versatile water projects. The Narmada River Development Project, which involves the construction of 30 large dams and many small ones on the river and its 51 main tributaries. The project renovated the valley and the lives of its residents and will increase food production and hydropower generation in Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. Karan inferred that more than 21 million people live in the valley, mostly in villages. The proposed Sardar Sarovar Dam and Narmada Sagar will displace more than 250,000 people The big fight is over the resettlement or the rehabilitation of these people. The two proposals are already under construction, supported by US dollar 550 millions loan by the World Bank. It is a multi-crore project that will generate a big revenue for the government. The Narmada Valley Development Plan is the most promised and most challenging plan in the history of India. The proponents are of the view that it will produce 1450 megawatts of electricity and pure drinking water to 40 million people, covering thousands of villages and towns. Some of the dams have been already completed, such as Tawa and Bargi dams, but the opponents say that this hydro project will devastate human lives and biodiversity by destroying thousands of acres of forest and agricultural land. On the other hand, it will overall deprive thousands of people of their livelihoods. They believe that the water and energy could be provided to the people through alternative technological means that would be ecologically beneficial. Reddy stated that to start with, this movement was centered on the issues of human rights. The main leaders of the movements at present, like Medha Patekar, were working towards proper rehabilitation programs for the dam displaced. Due to improper implementation of the rehabilitation programs by the state, the human rights activists have become the articulators of anti-dam protest. Their demand included complete stopping of the dam. The movement, however, gained huge public attention with the mobilization of organizations of outside, mostly tribals, and the joining of the eminent social workers like Baba Amte, Sundarlal Bahuguna, and Medha Patekar. Though its public attention is due to its coverage in 3 states, the most distinguished feature of this movement is the international support it has received. The strong protest throughout the country not only made impact on the local people, but has also influenced the several famous celebrities like film star Amir Khan, who has made open efforts to support Narmada Bachao Andolan. He said he only wants that those who have been rendered homeless should be given a roof. He pleaded to the common people to take part in the movement and come up with the best possible solutions. The Narmada Bachao Andolan has been pressurizing the World Bank to withdraw its loan from the project through media. Nepal Padam indicated that the Narmada Bachao Andolan has drawn upon a multiplicity of discourses for protest, such as displacement risk and resettlement provisions, environmental impact and sustainability issues, financial implications of the project, forceful eviction and violations of the civil liberties, issues pertaining to river value planning and management, implications of the Western growth models and alternative developments and appropriate technology, among many others. The movement uses various tools of protest such as Satyagraha, Jal Sampran, Rasta Roko, Gaon Bandh, demonstrations and rallies, hunger strikes and blockades of the projects. The third in this sequence is the Silent Valley project. This project was initiated in 1978 in the Silent Valley, which is an evergreen tropical forest in the Palakkad district of Kerala. In the leadership of Kerala Sastra Sahitya Parishad, an NGO, and the poet activist Sugata Kumari played an important role in the Silent Valley project. The basic idea of this movement was to protect the Silent Valley, the most evergreen forest, from being destroyed by a hydroelectric project. Save Silent Valley was a social movement aimed at the protection of the Silent Valley, an evergreen tropical forest in the Palakkad district of Kerala. The valley was declared as Silent Valley National Park in 1985. Silent Valley in Kerala has a rich 89 square kilometer biological treasure trove in the enormous expanse of tropical virgin forest and the green rolling hills. Kuntipuza, one of the major rivers, takes its origin in the lush green forest of Silent Valley. In 1928, the location at Srindharion, the Kunti Punza river was identified as an ideal site for electricity generation. The Kerala State Electricity Board decided to implement the Silent Valley Hydroelectric Project centered on a dam across the Kuntipunza River in 1973. A study and survey was conducted in 1980 of the area about the possibility of a hydroelectric project of 200 megawatts and one costing rupees 17 crores. The resulting reservoir would have flooded 8.3 square kilometer of the virgin rainforest. The proposed project was not also environmentally feasible as it was drawn a chunk of the valuable rainforest of the valley and threatened the life of a host of endangered species of both flora and fauna. The proposal was inquired by the National Committee on Environmental Planning and Coordination and suggested 17 safeguards to be implemented in case the project implemented. A shortage of funds delayed activity. Even then, from 1974 to 1975, a large number of trees were felled in the area. KSEB announced that it plans to begin dam construction in 1973. After the announcement of the dam construction, the valley became the focal point of Save Silent Valley, India's Firecast environmental debate of the decade. Because of the concern about the endangered lion-tailed macaque, the issue was brought to public attention. Romulus Whitaker, founder of the Madras Snake Park and the Madras Crocodile Bank, was probably the first person to draw public attention to the small and remote area. In 1977, the Kerala Forest Research Institute carried out an ecological impact study of the Silent Valley area and proposed that the area be declared a biosphere reserve. In 1978, Srimati Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India, approved the project with the condition that the state government enacted legislation ensuring the necessary safeguards. Also that year, the IUCN passed a resolution recommending protection of lion-tailed macaque in Silent Valley and Kalakad, and the controversy heated up. In 1979, the government of Kerala passed legislation regarding the Silent Valley Protection Area, Protection of Ecological Balance Act of 1979, and issued a notification declaring the exclusion of the hydroelectric project area from the proposed national park. The Kerala Sastra Sahitya Parishad, an NGO, was working for 3 decades among the masses of Kerala for growing environmental awareness. Kerala Sastra Sahitya Parishad effectively aroused public opinion on the requirements to save Silent Valley. They also published a techno-economic and socio-political assessment report on the Silent Valley hydroelectric project. The poet-activist Sugatha Kumari played an important role in the Silent Valley protest, and her poem Marathinu Stuthi became a symbol for the protest from the intellectual community and was the opening song, prayer of the most of the Save the Silent Valley campaign meetings. Dr. Salim Ali, eminent ornithologist of the Bombay Natural History Society, visited the valley and appealed for cancellation of the hydroelectric project. A petition of the writ was filed before the High Court of Kerala against the clear cutting of the forest in the hydroelectric project area, and the court ordered a stop to clear cutting. Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, the renowned agricultural scientist and then secretary to the Department of Agriculture, called at the Silent Valley region, and his suggestion was 389.52 square kilometer, including the Silent Valley, 89.52 square kilometer area, New Amrambalam, 80 square kilometer area, Attappady, 120 square kilometer in Kerala, and Kunda in Tamil Nadu, that is approximately 100 square kilometer reserve forest, should be made into National Rainforest Biosphere Reserve with the aim of preventing erosion of valuable genes from the area. In January 1980, the Honorable High Court of the Kerala lifted the ban on clear cutting, but then the Honorable Prime Minister of India requested the government of Kerala to stop further works in the project area until all aspects were fully discussed. In December, the government of Kerala declared the Silent Valley area, excluding the hydroelectric project area, as a national park. In 1982, a multidisciplinary committee with Professor M.G.K. Menon as chairman was created to decide if the hydroelectric project was feasible without any significant ecological damage. Early in the 1983, Professor Menon's committee submitted its report. After a careful study of the Menon report, the Prime Minister of India decided to abandon the project. On October 31st, 1984, Indira Gandhi was assassinated, and on November 15, the Silent Valley Forest were declared as a national park. Though the boundaries of the Silent Valley Park were limited and no buffer zone was created, despite recommendation by the expert committee and scientists. In 2001, a new hydro project was proposed and the man versus monkey debate was revived. The proposed site of the dam, that is 64.5 meters high and 275 meters long, is just 3.5 kilometers downstream of the old dam site at Sarandhri, that is 500 meters outside the national park boundary. The 84 square kilometer catchment of the project area included 79 square kilometers of the Silent Valley National Park. The Kerala Minister for Electricity called the Patharkadau Dam an eco-friendly alternative to the old Silent Valley project. The PHEP was designed as a runoff the river project with an installed capacity of 70 megawatts in the first phase of 105 megawatts and an energy generation of 214 million units with a minimum grass storage of 0.872 million cubic meters. The claim was that the submergence area of the PHEP would be negligible, that is 0.041 square kilometer compared to 8.3 square kilometer submergence of the 1970s. However, the spectacular waterfall between the Nilikal and Patharkadau hills bordering the Silent Valley will disappear if the proposed hydroelectricity project is implemented. During January to May 2003, a rapid environmental impact assessment was carried out during the Thiruvananthapuram-based Environmental Resource Center, and its report was released in December, stating that forest lost due to the project would be just 0.2216 square kilometer, not including the 7.4 kilometer approach road and land to the acquired for the powerhouse in Kadapadam. Nepal Padam indicated that the central issue of the Silent Valley protest included the protection of the tropical rainforest, maintenance of the ecological balance. The campaigns and the petitions were the main strategies adopted by the activists in the movements, grounding it on the non-violent Gandhian ideological orientation, the protest against the destruction of the forest, and opposition to the ecologically unsustainable development, and above all, maintenance of the ecological balance. The entire discussion may be summarized as that in the contemporary world, numerous grassroots environmental movements launched against the developmental activities that have endangered the ecological balance. During the past 3 decades, people in various regions of India have bent non-violent action movements to protect their environment, their livelihoods, and their ways of life. These environmental movements have emerged from the Himalayan regions of Uttar Pradesh to the tropical forest of Kerala and from Gujarat to Tripura in response to projects that threaten to dislocate people and to affect their basic human rights to land, water, and ecological stability of life support system. They share certain features such as democratic values and decentralized decision making with social movements operating in India. The environmental movements are slowly progressing towards defining a model of development to replace the current resource-intensive one that has created severe ecological instabilities. Similar grassroots environmental movements are emerging in Japan, Malaysia, the Philippines, Indonesia, and Thailand. Throughout Asia and the Pacific, citizenry organizations are working in innovative ways to reclaim their environment. This is all about the different movements in India. Hope you have enjoyed. Thank you very much.